4 suspects accused of vehicle burglary.
A spillage near Nordheim has several local residents on edge.
And a 12-year-old and a 20-year-old near Fort Worth face murder charges after the death of a Sonic employee.
We had more afternoon thunder showers. They're beginning to finally decrease as they lose the energy of the sun, so they're going to be collapsing. The good news is that tomorrow we start the end of all of this. In fact, we're going to get some drier weather coming in. I'll have all the latest coming up in a moment.
We've got a lot of softball and baseball scores tonight, including the St. Joseph Lady Flyers. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Around 1:25 a.m. today, Victoria police officers were at a home in the 500 block of Waterford to investigate a vehicle burglary. A white Dodge Durango took off from the scene. A short time later, the vehicle was found in the 200 block of Eagle Creek. Police tried to pull over the vehicle and said 3 people ran off and 2 stayed in the vehicle. Police say they found a stolen handgun and a purse inside the vehicle. Authorities searched the area and detained 1 juvenile. 3 adults were arrested. One of the suspects, 18-year-old Eric Mundine, faces 3 charges of burglary of a vehicle, theft of a firearm, and engaging in organized criminal activity.
The other suspect, 17-year-old Mario Salinas, he also faces 3 charges. He's charged with burglary of a vehicle, theft of a firearm, and engaging in organized criminal activity. A 19-year-old Nathaniel Escobedo faces 7 charges. He's charged with burglary of a vehicle, theft of a firearm, evading arrest or detention, and engaging in organized criminal activity. Nathaniel is also charged with not having a driver's license, failing to appear, and driving without a seatbelt, all of which are warrants.
The last suspect detained was a 16-year-old juvenile who faces 4 charges. He's charged with burglary of a vehicle, theft of a firearm, evading arrest or detention, and engaging in organized criminal activity.
Several arrests and seizures of illegal drugs and money happened last week with the Operation Lone Star Task Force in Refugio County. 9 felony charges were filed, 4 arrest warrants were served, along with 6 seizures of illegal drugs and over $112,000 of money seized. 5 area county sheriff's offices, along with Homeland Security investigators, took part in the arrest and seizures.
The Texas Railroad Commission is looking into an incident in DeWitt County near Nordheim on Hahn Road. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has more about flooding and a possible waste spill. Adarius?
That's right, 63,000 gallons of rainwater spilled across Hahn Road. The Railroad Commission has jurisdiction over the operation of a disposal site in that area. The site dealt with about 10 inches of rain this past week. The flooding made its way to the street and concerns started to rise. One concerned member of the community had this to say: "I'm not an engineer and I'm not an expert on the sites, but it sounds to me like there's potential for harmful things to happen here." That's from Sister Elizabeth, who is monitoring the situation. The company says they are working with the Railroad Commission and TCEQ to assess and monitor the issue. Dawn, Karina, back to you.
Adarius, thank you. The Victoria Central Appraisal District meeting Wednesday at 4 p.m. On the agenda is the discussion and possible action on the letter of resignation from Chairman Lou Swetlick. The board meets at 2805 North Navarro in Suite 300.
And this brings us to your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you plan to attend the Victoria Central Appraisal District meeting? Yes or no? We take a look at the results for tonight. 18% say yes and 82% say no. Thank you for voting tonight. Visit us tomorrow for our latest viewer poll.
Due to flooding, parts of Riverside Park closed. They include the Memorial Rose Garden and Riverside Golf Course, the boat ramp, the RV park, and John F. Lee Drive. The Texas Zoo and Riverside Golf Course stay open and can be reached by entering the south end of the park. Water is over Constitution and Craig Streets and over areas west of Moody Street between Water and Constitution Streets. Water also flowing into Riverside Golf Course.
Here are the current river flood warnings posted for the crossroads from the National Weather Service. In Victoria County, a river flood warning in effect until late Friday morning for the Guadalupe River at Victoria.
In Victoria and Calhoun counties, a river flood warning in effect until further notice for the Guadalupe River near Bloomington. In Victoria, Calhoun, and Goliad counties, a river flood warning in effect until early Wednesday afternoon at the San Antonio River at Goliad. In DeWitt County, a river flood warning in effect until early Wednesday afternoon for the Guadalupe River near Cuero. In Lavaca and Jackson counties, a river flood warning in effect until late tonight for the Navidad River at Morales. In Jackson County, a river flood warning in effect until Wednesday afternoon for the Navidad River at Strain Park.
In Jackson County, a river flood warning until early Thursday afternoon for the Lavaca River near Edna.
And now, with all that flooding, let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Now, Mac, the number of river flood warnings is going down, but we had more rain today. So do you think those warnings will go back up or keep dropping the next couple of days?
I think we're in good shape. I think that what rain we had today was not excessive. I mean, it's not going to cause additional runoff. And most of the rivers are forecast to peak tomorrow. So that means that, you know, by the time we get to Thursday, we should start dropping. We can see all the thunder shower activity that developed this afternoon. And guess what? You can also see it falling apart right about there at this hour. We'll have more in your forecast because I'm looking for some drier weather. Yes, drier weather coming up. All that in a moment.
All right, Mac, thank you. The Texas House Committee advanced Senate Bill 896, which is a revision of the 2011 Texas Citizens Participation Act, which provides free speech protection. SB 896 could change the way Texas protects you, businesses, and news organizations like 25 News Now from trivial lawsuits. SB 896 allows people who don't like what you're saying about them to sue you. Donis Baggett of the Texas Press Association says SB 896 is harmful to the public and journalists. Baggett is now urging the public to take action.
That was specifically the Texas House, because this bill has already passed the Texas Senate. So they need to contact their Texas House members, their state representatives, and ask them to vote against SB 896, because it is a threat not just to your and my rights as reporters, but to the individual's right to express themselves freely.
The House has until May 23rd to put SB 896 on the calendar for second reading. After that, the Senate would vote on it, and it could end up on the governor's desk. A 12-year-old boy accused of killing a restaurant worker in North Texas with an AR-15 style weapon. Saturday night outside of Fort Worth, police were called to a drive-in. They found an employee with several gunshot wounds. He later died. Authorities say the employee got into an argument with a 20-year-old man who was being disorderly in the parking lot. Police say the 12-year-old pulled out the AR-15 style gun and fired at least 6 shots. Both the child and the 20-year-old are charged with murder.
The memorial for the 8 people killed in the mass shooting at a North Texas outlet mall was removed. People gathered at the site at Allen Premium Outlets to remember those who died. The Allen Fire Department and volunteers dismantled the memorial this Tuesday morning, removing crosses, notes, and flowers. They will go to the family and friends of the 8 victims. Before it was removed, a woman wanted to stop by and pray one last time.
I was just praying, especially for just knowing that kids was involved. You know, it's so much happening today that when kids and, you know, parents are involved, it just hurt my heart. And I was just Lord, just help them out, you know, help the whole world.
The outlet mall has remained closed since the shooting, but a reopening date is not yet confirmed. The Secret Service is investigating a break in the home at the White House National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. A Secret Service member spokesman says the agency is looking into the incident. It happened at Jake Sullivan's Washington, D.C. home in the middle of the night a few weeks ago, but no one was hurt. The Secret Service says they are taking this matter seriously. Sullivan has been President Biden's National Security Advisor since the beginning of his presidency.
Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, the latest on the fatal shooting in New Mexico that killed 3 people. Authorities say the shooter was an 18-year-old.
Also ahead, doorbell camera shows the suspect who attacked staffers at a congressman's office in Virginia.
Police in New Mexico have identified the gunman in Monday's mass shooting that killed 3 people. 18-year-old Bo Wilson, who was killed by officers at the scene, randomly fired when he shot and killed 3 elderly women. Those women were Shirley Voida, Melody Ivory, and Gwendolyn Schofield. There's no connection to the shooter and the 3 victims. The teenager used at least 3 weapons. One he purchased legally in November of last year. 2 officers were hurt but were released from the hospital.
2 congressional staffers are out of the hospital after a man with a bat attacked a representative from a Virginia office Monday.
Surveillance video appears to show the suspect chasing a woman in his neighborhood minutes earlier.
Terrifying video caught on a home security camera. Neighbors say it shows the man now accused of attacking a Virginia congressman's staffers, allegedly chasing a woman with a bat minutes earlier.
I don't think there is a motivation. I think we're talking about real mental illness.
Several neighbors heard the commotion. Daniel Ashley says it wasn't until he heard about a possible connection to the attack on the congressman's office that he started looking through his security camera footage.
And that was the clip that had the woman running away from the guy with the baseball bat. She's screaming and terrified. I heard about the Jerry Connolly thing on the news, but I had no idea that I was so close to home.
Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly says Monday morning the alleged attacker walked into his district office in Fairfax in an enraged state.
Turns out that he had already used that bat to destroy older woman's windshield out further west. So he was on a tear.
He did arrive here in a vehicle, and he walked to the office and began swinging the bat, striking 2 staff members.
The congressman telling CNN he wasn't there at the time.
A man had come into our office with a metal baseball bat and asked for me. And when told that I was at an event, he proceeded to attack the young intern who was at the front desk on her first day. And then when the noise and commotion became clear, others came running out of their offices, and he attacked my outreach director and hit her badly on the back of her head.
The father of the 49-year-old suspect says his son is schizophrenic and he hasn't taken his medication for 3 months. Now, according to the CDC, almost 1 in 3 people in the U.S. will develop shingles in their lifetime.
Shingles is a painful illness, and while it's most common in adults, children can get it too.
The same virus that causes chickenpox can stay inactive in the body and reactivate years later to cause shingles. Shingles causes painful blisters and a rash that shows up on one side of the face or body. Usually, it can take 2 to 4 weeks to go away. You might also have a fever, headache, chills, or upset stomach. Some people might have nerve pain for months or years after the rash clears. Most people recover just fine, but some require hospitalization for serious shingles complications. If you have shingles and the rash spreads to your eyes, or you have signs of breathing problems, hearing problems, or signs of confusion, seek medical attention right away. If you're older or have a weakened immune system, you might be at increased risk. What can you do to protect yourself? Avoid contact with open blisters if someone you know has a rash. If you're 50 years or older, the CDC also recommends 2 doses of the Shingrix vaccine to help protect against shingles. That vaccine is also recommended for adults 19 years and older who have a compromised immune system. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
The body of a missing 4-year-old was found in Boston. Massachusetts State Police said one of their Marine units spotted the boy on the shoreline around 12:30 p.m. Monday. Surveillance video showed the child leaving the playground and heading in the direction of the water. Police notified his family as soon as they confirmed it was the boy. According to his mom, he was on the autism spectrum and was nonverbal. Here's a weather update with Mac.
Thank you, Don. Good evening, everyone. We had the thunderstorms this afternoon. They're all beginning to decrease. And tomorrow, I think we're going to see more sun and less rain. How about that? All that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. evening, everyone. We are getting the computer up and running. There's our live picture out at Cuero, and as you can see, the clouds are still out there, but the thunder shower activity is finally over with. Current temperature at 70 degrees. That, it's kind of nice. We peak up at about 87. Thunder comes in, and then all the cool air comes back down to earth, and that's why we're so comfortable right now. Winds are absolutely calm. We did get to 87 right before lunchtime, as you see right about there, which is the average temperature for this time of year. But with all that huffing and puffing, all we got is what, 0.05 hundredths of an inch of rain out at the airport. So I'm sure that somebody got more rain than that, because early this morning we had flood warnings down in Calhoun County. They were getting real downpours, but this was expected. This was expected because of all the moisture left on in the ground. Now here's Seadrift and here's Victoria, and you can see how there was some big thunder activity along I-10, but it's collapsing at this hour, and tomorrow it's going to collapse even further. Now right about here in the central part of the state, we have a stationary front. It's a little drier to the north, and of course here's quite humid, but that stationary front is going to help us out. Tomorrow, it's going to drift through here with a little bit of a west or northwest wind, and that's going to help knock the humidity down and the thunder showers down as well. Now here's San Antonio. You can see the stormy weather up there, but it's all begun to collapse and it's all ending. So we've got some better news for you if you're tired of the rain. And I don't want you to be tired of the rain, because was a year ago we were just begging for rain, wasn't it? We were pray for rain, something. And now all of a sudden we're going, oh, that's enough, thank you. Well, it is enough for the time being, but we don't want it to go away forever. So collapsing shower activity. Now, accumulated rainfall totals, that's kind of a problem, but you can see how along the coastal areas, Port O'Connor and Port Lavaca got 6,300s is not particularly bad, but apparently it was coming down very hard and very fast. So they did have flood warnings there, and you can see how everybody got relatively light totals despite all that huffing and puffing with all the stormy weather. But that's good, because heavier totals would have caused more flooding. So it balanced out for the good. Now, a lot of the watches and warnings are being lowered to the north of us, and that's good. And now we still have the flood warnings along the rivers. There's San Antonio, Guadalupe all the way down, and here's the Navidad, and here, of course, is the Colorado. I wanted to show you this one. This is where we are with the Guadalupe River at Victoria. So basically, you're looking at Riverside Park. All right. It was nothing, and then it went up real high, and we're right on the edge of what is considered major flooding. So we're going to stay right there. And here's the good news. Here's tonight, all right? Then tomorrow it comes down a little bit. And by the time we get to Thursday and Friday, there's going to be a definite downturn in the amount of water. And so let's say the park and everything associated with it will start to thin out. Here's our little frontal system that will drift through sometime tomorrow. It'll give us a drier atmosphere, and guess what? You're going to see more sunshine and fewer showers. So, and it's not going to be, oppressively humid. So 20% is for the early part of the day. The rest of the day will be actually improving. Thursday, Friday looks mostly sunny. Temperatures warming up almost to 90 degrees by Saturday before all that Gulf moisture rolls back in. That is your 7-day forecast, folks. We've got a QR code. Scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone, and we'll be able to reach out to you anytime there's serious weather to deal with. We are going to toss it over to Gino.
Thanks, Mac. The UHV Jaguars are fighting to keep its national title hopes alive. That's coming up after the break. At Crossroads, UHV Jaguars baseball team started off hot yesterday, but a weather delay would cause Game 2 for the Jaguars to cool down, and tonight seemed to be a similar story. In Game 1, the Jags beat Union 10-7 thanks to a great 7th inning where UHV scored 6 runs and essentially ended the game. In Game 2, the Jags would lose in a shutout 7-0 against William Carey. Now we jump to tonight in a win-or-go-home game. The Jags looked to bounce back, but Game 1 went into yet another lightning delay. In the first inning, the Rams scored first in the top of the first inning, and it would be a while until anyone else would get on the board. The Jaguars scored 1 run in the 5th, and then in the 6th is when the Jags busted the game open, scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Rams did fight back and scored 2 in the 7th to close the lead to 1, but the Jags would go on and run away with it, and they go on to win 9-3. The UHV boys golf team is also competing at the NAIA Men's Golf Championships in Mesa, Arizona. 29 teams are competing, and after day 1, the Jaguars currently sit in 26th place. The top 3 finishers for UHV are Will Patton, who shot 1 under 71, Jacob Flores 3 over 75, and Carson Kaler 4 over 76. As a team, they shot 10 over par. St. Joseph Lady Flyers season came to an end last night. The Lady Flyers got off to a rocky start as they allowed a home run and 3 runs in the first inning. St. Joseph did scratch a run in the 3rd, but the Panthers kept adding to the lead and eventually making it 6-1. The Lady Flyers had a big 5th inning, scoring multiple runs, including Elena St. Jean home run. But the Lady Flyers' spectacular season comes to an end after falling to its district rival, the Panthers, 9-4. The 2023 draft is set, and the 3 Texas teams are drafting in the top 10. The Dallas Mavericks just cracked the top 10 with the 10th pick, while the Rockets fall to the 4th pick after having one of the highest odds for the number 1 pick. The big winners of the night are the San Antonio Spurs. The Black and Silver have the right to draft the highest coveted draft pick, arguably ever, in Victor Wembanyama on your screen there. This is the 3rd time the Spurs have had the number 1 pick in the draft, and each time it's been a home run. First, it was the Admiral, David Robinson, in 1987. Then 5-time NBA champion Tim Duncan, taken in the 1997 draft. The draft will be June 22nd at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Don, let me see. Tim Duncan is probably in your top 5, if I remember correctly.
Top 5 all time. Look, with him, before him, let's see, the Spurs were terrible. With him, let's see, 20 years, playoffs every year, 5 championships. After him, terrible.
Well, we'll see if Pop can make something happen with Wembanyama. We'll see.
All right, interesting. Thank you, Gino, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, NASA researchers will spend a year on a simulated Mars. The real story on the fake planet after the break.
Vice President Kamala Harris is highlighting the Biden administration's support for small businesses. Today, she met with more than 35 young men of color who are entrepreneurs and business owners. The men come from more than 15 states and represent a variety of industries, including healthcare, space, and fashion. Harris pledged to continue to support for minority business owners in the midst of historic small business growth.
So when we think about the work that we must do, for me as Vice President of the United States, for us as an administration, it is about continuously focusing on what we can do to strengthen our nation. And that means strengthening and supporting the work that each of you has accomplished that brings us to this conversation today and the work yet to be done moving forward.
The administration launched an effort in 2021 to increase the share of federal contracts for minority-owned small businesses. The White House says the initiative has led to a $100 billion investment in minority-owned businesses.
NASA researchers about to spend a year on Mars, a simulated Mars, that is. The project will isolate 4 people inside a 17,000 square foot mock Mars base at the Johnson Space Center in Houston for 378 days. That's roughly the same length as a manned Mars mission. They will have a pre-planned schedule simulating the activities and science work. The first simulation will begin in June and will be followed by 2 more. I wonder about a real trip to Mars.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think that's real, you know, because they can see the Starbucks from there, you know. It's not the same. In Mars, there is no Starbucks.
I don't think you can order a double latte on the real Mars.
You don't feel like total isolation like you will if you go to Mars.
That's right. The red planet, yes.
The red planet. All right, folks, the good news is the stormy weather is about to come to an end. We've had about 4 days of that. Today we had the big thunderstorms. Tomorrow, a few little showers. And then by and large, by Wednesday evening, some drier air rolls in. And all of a sudden, we're in the dry weather, which is good because we need Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to dry up from this past week. And with a little luck, we'll also see temperatures get up to about 90 degrees.
Mac, thank you. And finally tonight, I demand a recount. Green Bay, Wisconsin was listed at the top of U.S. News and World Report's Best City in America. The magazine says the city is the perfect mix of big town amenities with a small town feel. Brr. Other 9 cities in order, according to U.S. News and World Report: Huntsville, Alabama; Raleigh and Durham, North Carolina; Boulder, Colorado; Burr; Sarasota, Florida; Naples, Florida; Portland, Maine; Burr; Charlotte, North Carolina; Colorado Springs, Colorado; and Fayetteville, Arkansas. Woo Pig Sooty comes in at number 10 because I've been there, and that's Woo Pig Sooty. Green Bay. Let me just hit that. Green Bay average winter, daily high temperature below 37 degrees.
Hello.
In January, average low of 13 degrees, high of 26 degrees.
So they said big city amenities and small town feel. Didn't take in the temperature into account.
I don't think so, no.
Well, it might be because, like you said, Don, we're from South Texas, so we're a little biased towards that cold weather. But I wouldn't trade this. So,
biased against frostbite.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us. Visit us tomorrow for Sunrise.